So I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to controllers. There are so many on the market that it's hard for them to impress and easy for them to just piss me off. Perfect example, let's take a trip down memory lane and check out some of the highlights from my Hyperkin Retron 5 review from 2014. Speaking of the included controller, it's garbage. Mushy, acceptable. Straight up puke-worthy. It squeaks when you spin it. Obstruction grinds against the stick, unpleasant, horrible feeling. Abysmal latency, funky. Latency issues comes with a controller which will just add mass to landfills. So yeah, make a shitty controller and I'm not gonna shy away from calling you out, especially if it's wireless. But make a great controller and an impressive wireless solution and you have my complete and undivided attention. This is Analog and 8BitDo's retro receiver for NES and SNES along with 8BitDo's matching controllers. And let me tell you, they've got my attention and they should have yours too. Let's find out why. Cooler Master's Mastercase Maker 5 features their freeform modular system, allowing you to customize, adjust, and upgrade. Make it yours at the link below. Input devices are like tools. You should use the right one for the right job when you can. A keyboard and mouse isn't generally the greatest experience for a racing game, and a racing wheel, while it would be fun in a silly way if you can get it to work, is just an idiotic pairing for a game like Counter-Strike Go. Continuing this theme, I prefer to play platformers with smaller, retro-inspired controllers that don't have extraneous things. I don't need joysticks. Specifically, I really like NES and SNES controllers. Now, both of the 8BitDo controllers, which we'll cover more deeply later on, can officially connect with iOS, macOS, Android, and Windows through a simple Bluetooth connection, which will allow you to play new platformers, various D-pad-based games, and more, including the morally gray area of emulated games. But first, I want to take a moment to look at their retro receivers for both the NES and the SNES. These compact little devices look like someone just clipped the cable off of the plug end of a controller and added a little micro USB port, a sync button, and a light, which in my opinion looks great. Functionality-wise, they're surprisingly flexible. They can be plugged into a PlayStation 3, a PC, or a Mac through micro USB and used as a high-quality, just straight Bluetooth adapter, or they can be plugged into an original NES or SNES unit, an analog NT, or some other form of aftermarket NES or SNES that uses the original plugs. Cool. Once you've got all that hooked up, you can then officially pair it with PlayStation 4 controllers, PlayStation 3 controllers, Wiimotes, Wii U Pro controllers, and various 8BitDo controllers and arcade sticks. They transmit data over Bluetooth 2.1 plus EDR Class 2, and the experience is, I'm happy to say, fantastic, with minimal latency, unlike that terrible Retron controller. Let's jump back now to a more in-depth look at the 8BitDo controllers, along with the wicked connectivity options that I mentioned above. Most importantly, the NES 30 and SNES 30 do something that many have failed to achieve. They feel right. With the perfect retro-inspired gray ribbon cable attached, I think you could convince most people in a blind taste test that this was the real thing. And if you're any good with NES or SNES controllers, this helps with more than just pseudo-authenticity. I mean, the classic controllers made by Nintendo were good for a reason. Not just because they were original, but because they were responsive and felt right. Like the games were specifically designed to be played with them, and it helps that they were relatively hard to break, too, something that I don't intend to benchmark, but seems to be true with these replicas as well. But back to new functionality. In order to cover all of the bases, 8BitDo has included a variety of modes in which the controller can run, including a touchscreen emulation mode where you can drag and drop input pass-throughs so that your inputs to the controller translate into inputs to the game, which can be a huge benefit because I hate playing anything but turn-based games on mobile due to crappy touchscreen input. And you get some other goodies like multiplayer support on iOS, and the NES 30 even including a clip on the back called the Xtander, which you can remove to prop up your phone. This shouldn't be confused with the other Xtander, which clips onto your controller and your phone, sort of mimicking an NVIDIA Shield. This product with the exact same name is totally different, obviously. But if Linus Tech Tips was going to let crappy product naming hurt our overall rating of a product, the Razer Blade would be the worst laptop 3 years running, and it isn't. So, all in all, I wasn't even sure if I was going to review these, but after spending time with them, they just work. They feel like NES and SNES controllers. They can be wired or wirelessly transmitted with the retro receiver. They can even be used with the original or aftermarket NES or SNES devices, which I like to use, along with modern computers, smartphones, and even a PlayStation 3 if you're more into that. So great work, analog and 8-bit DOE. There isn't really much more I can think to ask from these products. So I guess I'll end with that. Today we're talking about iFixit's ProTech Toolkit. It's been completely reimagined, but it's just as rugged and portable as before. It includes the new 64-bit driver kit, which replaced the former 54-bit driver kit. And there are tons of magnets. The 64-bit kit itself is held to the front roll using magnets, and as the shell is able to be taken off with magnets as well, it can be used as a parts tray. There's also a newly redesigned swivel top precision driver, which I personally like a lot, and the flex extension that you know from before for hard to reach places. There's precision ESD safe tweezers, including a pair of reverse tweezers, and a wider variety of plastic opening tools and picks to safely work on tablets and smartphones and certain iOS devices and whatnot. And you're backed by iFixit's lifetime warranty. And if you're like, whatever man, I already own one, just go check out their guides. They have tons of guides on tearing down a huge amount of electronics. So, ifixit.com/Linus and use code LTT at your checkout to save $5 on your purchase of $10 or more. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, like it. If you dislike this video, dislike it. If you want to buy products like these, check it out on Amazon. I don't actually know if these are on sale on Amazon, but they might be. I'm not entirely sure. If you want to see some links in the video description down below of where to buy a shirt or something, those should be there as well. And check out this video if you want to see the old Retron 5 review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.